All right, let's go ahead and first start by launching the HoloViewer app. Now, when we first come in, we're either prompted to say scan to read a QR code or default to load up the default model. You do need to be connected to the internet for this. And here I'm just going to show you that I have a drawing with the QR code of it, which would load that 3D assembly. Now, I can't demonstrate that live because of the fact that I'm using the camera to record the video, and the QR code scanning uses that camera to do that, so I can't do both at the same time. Now, default. So there it's downloading and going to load up the default model here. Now, when you load up the model, you're basically at the lower left-hand corner of the 000 grid in Tekla Structures when you export the model. So I'm like at the intersection of grid line 1 and grid line A. And you can see it's pretty stable. I was just moving really fast, realistically there, just like a normal movement. And basically you can see the materials on the edge here. Okay, I can just finger tap, and then that will show that selected object, and it'll either tell me the name of that object, or if it's steel, it'll actually give me the piece mark and profile. Now, what's great about this is by default you see materials and shaders here, and glass is transparent. So the way that this works is when I publish it from Tekla Structures, it reads the material type, and then it maps that automatically to the materials and shaders. So I'm not doing any of that manually. That's all automatic based on what I set inside of Tekla Structures. Now, I can walk inside of the building if I'd like to. And here we are, we're inside, and you can actually see the tile for the ceiling. So let's just select that. Hide. So that hides the object that I last air tapped or selected. Now what's cool is I can see all of the steel up at the roof, and what I want to do is I actually want to inspect that a little bit closer. So I'm down on the ground when I first start, but if I want to get there to more closely investigate that, I just move my gaze so that way wherever I'm basically intersecting with the red dot, zoom there. And then it brings me up there, and I can continue to walk and sort of investigate this. Now, if I hover over bolts, you'll see it gives me the full designation. Now, if I want to get rid of these marks, I just say refresh. There we go. And if we have a really large model and we don't want to see all the shaders or the materials, we can just say low resolution, high resolution, and there we go. Now we can click on or tap anywhere here. There's the piece mark of the column, piece mark of the beam. Now let's say we want to set something to transparent. So transparent on. So when you highlight something, it'll actually turn it transparent so that way you can investigate something. This is really good for concrete and things like that. All right, now let's say that we have reinforcement in the wall. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hide this drywall. Hide. Concrete off. And there we can actually see all the reinforcement inside of that panel wall. So what's really awesome here is that I can not only see the steel, the bolts, and the welds, but I can also inspect this from a concrete reinforcement point of view. And this is really great if you have something really complicated and you've colorized those differently by class and things inside of Tekla Structures. You can make it very easy to sort of understand the different rebar and reinforcement that's being placed. All right, now sometimes the full life-size model is a little bit too much to look at. So we can actually scale it. Scale 50. So that's 50%. If you want to go back to life size, scale 1. Scale 1. Scale 10. Okay, so that's 10%. So that's really going to give you, a more holistic, and I can actually look at the top of the structure, so it gives me kind of that sort of God mode of looking over the entire building, being able to set transparency, look inside objects, inspect how things are going to work. If you actually placed some crane models and things like that, or even the job site trailers or equipment in Tekla Structures, and you publish that geometry as well, that would be kind of handy here with this mode.
Let's go ahead and recap the CMKHoloViewer voice commands. First, if you say scan, that will start the QR code scanning. So you just have to have a QR code in the field of view on the camera, and then once it recognizes it, it'll tell you that it's downloading that model, and you must be connected to the internet. Or you can say default, which will load the default model, which I demonstrated during the training here. And again, you need to be connected to the internet for that. And then refresh shows hidden items and then also removes any of the marks from you tapping and selecting objects. Hide will hide the last tapped object or tapped part. And then you can say scale 1, scale 10, scale 25, or scale 50 to scale the model size. Scale 1 basically means 1-to-1 scale, so life size, and then 10, 25, and 50 are like 50%, 25%, and 10%. Then you can say transparent on or transparent off to basically toggle on the selection mode that when you do tap on an object, will it turn transparent or solid again based on you tapping on it. And then there's high resolution or low resolution, which will show the materials or not. Low resolution will just render a little bit faster, so it can probably handle more objects and it just won't show the materials. Zoom there is basically going to teleport you wherever you have the red cursor and it hits on an object. So if you want to go to the totally other side of the building, you just look over to that side of the building where you're hitting an object and then say zoom there and it'll bring you there. Now the last one is concrete on or concrete off, which basically will turn anything that has the material type of concrete from the Tekla Structures model. It'll turn all of those objects transparent, and it turns off the colliders. So basically when you're air tapping on objects, you can't highlight the actual concrete, and that's important in this mode because you may want to select on reinforcement or embeds that are inside that concrete to inspect those that detail. So here you go. You can pause this, take a screen capture, and these are the basic commands of using CMK HoloViewer.